Hello everyone and welcome to one of the most iconic tracks on the calendar, adored by the fans and the drivers. It's the British Grand Prix. My name is Shane and joining me back once again is Dan.
Yeah, it's great to be back, Shane, for round 10 of this season, after the title race took another turn last time out in Austria, with Alex picking up the full 25 points, while Nervo Tank left the Red Bull ring with 0. Silverstone is a home race for many of the drivers, so they'll be looking to impress at this legendary circuit. But now, it's time for the qualifying report.
Okay, so here we are for the qualifying session, round Silverstone. On the left we have the Renault driver of Jim Nervo Tank, the championship leader, and on the right we have the Haas driver of M Thorn, both drivers choosing to take the medium compound tyre in this session. Heavy braking for turn 3, and it looks like Thorn slightly locks up the right front there. Wide entry into turn 4, try and maximise that exit to get on the DRS straight, a key overtaking spot during the race, and coming to sector 1 now, and it looks like Thorn has a slight advantage on Nervo Tank in the first sector. Coming into the next corner now, and pretty similar lines between the two, both of them clipping the apex there. And now we are in Luffield, a long right-hander, both drivers just waiting to get on the throttle there, a really frustrating corner. And now they're building up to Stowe. Do either of them take it flat out? I don't believe they will on this game. Let's see. No, both of them choose to shift down a gear. It looks like Thorn took a little bit more of the curb than Nervo Tank there. Now we come into this lovely chain of corners, Maggots and Beckett's here. Both drivers taking it perfectly, but it looks like Nervo Tank has actually got a slightly better exit here. And as we're coming to the end of Sector 2, Nervo Tank does indeed have a slight lead on Thorn now, so he's overturned that deficit from the first sector. Coming into Stowe now, and again, both drivers taking very similar lines. Thorn does slightly miss the apex there, but he hasn't lost too much time as a result of that. Coming into the last few corners of the lap now, turns 16, 17 and 18. Both drivers identical through these series of corners, so it looks like Nervo Tank is going to be on pole and M Thorn is going to be only 2 tenths behind.
So it's Nervo Tank in his Renault to claim his 7th pole position of the season, and his first since the Monaco Grand Prix. And it was M Thorn to complete the front row in his Haas. Alex will line up 3rd, just behind his championship rival, with MB Rubin, a very good qualifying for him. However, he will start on the soft compound tyre, quite a big disadvantage in the race. Ali K and Aresi will line up on the 3rd row, while it was Clarkey and Dan closely behind them. And it was Keen and Big Shot to round out the top 10. B-Colt and Beamu were the first of the drivers to have the free choice of tyres, while Demon, Jonas and Nummer all set their fastest laps on the soft compound tyre, but chose not to improve to make sure they started outside the top 10. It was Jake in 16th, with RBOS and Big C on the 9th row of the grid. Theo and AORMadness will round out the grid for Silverstone, and now it's time for the race.
It's race time here in Silverstone for the British Grand Prix of round 10 of the season, and we've got some bright blue skies as well, which is fantastic to see, so we should get some great action out there on the track today, but you can never ever discount the British weather.
No, you can't, but we've got one legendary track, 20 of the finest drivers on PS4, and I think we are set up for an absolutely cracking race here.
Yes, indeed, one of the best tracks in the world. So here we are looking upon the grid away for this formation lap, and I think we've had a car disconnect on the grid. I can't remember who that is. I think that's Aresi actually, who qualified in 6th place. So he has disconnected on the grid, and I don't think he'll be able to join back, unfortunately, in time for the race. So we've had a non-starter already, and we've got now a rule clarification, so that the situation that we had last time out in Austria, where we had over half the field qualify on intermediates, there is now a rule in place to stop that from happening. So that is great to see. So I think the punishment for that is they will now get disqualified, so no one else can use that tip for the rest of the season, Dan.
Yeah, I think it just provides a more competitive qualifying session, which we obviously want to see. But Alex done well in P3 on board with Keen. I think it was slightly disappointed with P9, but obviously he can still move forward in the race. We've seen so far this season, he's got a pretty decent pace. And yeah, just interesting to see sort of how far these medium compound tyres go. I think most drivers will be looking at a one stop going straight from the mediums onto a set of hards.
Yep. So here is B Colt, the first of those who had free choice to start on whatever compound they wish to. And he's starting in 11th place on the medium tyre, as we can see there, and BMU behind him is on the hard tyre, so he's looking to go longer in this race. And Big Shot in front of us, obviously on the medium. A lot of medium runners at the start of this race to try to go around about lap 10. What do we think the strategy is going to be here today?
Yeah, well, I think for the guys starting on the mediums, this is an easy one-stop. I think for the guys starting on hards as well. I mean, I don't really know, but they could maybe push it to a hard soft. People like NBA Ruben, though, who are starting on that soft compound tyre, they have really got a compromised race strategy because they're at least going for a two-stop. And due to the length of the pit lane here, that's an extra 30 seconds onto your race time, which you just don't want in a very competitive league like this.
Yep, so we've had 282 laps of racing so far this season. We've got another 26 here today, and we've got a very tight field, especially up at the front. Nervo Tank and M Thorn and Alex. Obviously Alex with the dominant race win last time out in Austria, looking to try and get another win under his belt. Nervo Tank and Alex both with 3 wins apiece this season. It's going to be fantastic to see who will get another win at the end of this race. Now we've got 4 lights, 5 lights. Lights out, away we go, and Noah's got off to a shocking start. He's been delayed, and now M-Thorn's up into the lead. Alex up into P3, has been mugged off by Clark. He's got contact in the background. Novotank already down to P4, and Kian's had a great start up to P5, and now Novotank back up the inside of 2 cars up to P2. He's going to run Ali K out of road, and Novotank is back up to P2, and we've already got a virtual safety car, so the race is very quickly neutralised. And I don't know what happened to Novo on that start. And did you catch anything of what happened further down the field there, Dan? I didn't quite spot it.
Yeah, I think Aresi's car has unfortunately lagged back onto the grid. Something very weird has happened at the start here. Novotank, what he got in Australia, which is a lag start, thankfully didn't take anyone out this time, but already demoted into P4, then gets a good run through Farm Curve, then up the inside of Alex, and then a very ambitious move up the inside of Ali K. Clearly intent on trying to wrestle back some of that track position, and got past the McLaren, and then the virtual safety car comes out straight away. I think the Big Shot got, this is how, right, so Aresi then just swipes left. That's obviously not him controlling, that's his AI, and then it's just caused a massive domino effect in behind with all the cars having to be slowed down. And then we've got an incident involving Number and B-Cart, I think just off to the side there, but Clarky down to P11 after such a great qualifying. On board with Dan there, you can see what happens here. So Aresi's car goes to the left, and then MB Ruben also got a lag start. Kian goes through, and then there was an incident behind him, which you can't really see from this point of view, but Nummer just charges up the inside of turn 1 and takes out B-Cart.
Yeah, I think that's Nummer's own fault, but yeah, that's a massive chain reaction, as there's a bit of contact there between me and Dan as well, and they managed to escape it. Here's the accident, well, here's Jonas's point of view, and I think he's going to be the Sauber that gets collected up, and yeah, so Big Shot's been swiped over by Dan, which hasn't happened on Dan's screen, and now from that Jonas has had nowhere to go either and just gets collected. So now we're back under green flag racing, and Alex up the inside into Stowe, and up to P3, but Ali K on the outside now down into the Vale. Who's going to be later on the brakes? It's Alex this time around, and Alex swoops around the outside and back up to P3. Now he's got his sights set on Novotank up in front, and here he is now setting the fastest lap of the race, albeit a very slow one. And through turn 1 they go, not flat out with the cars on 50 kilos of fuel at the moment, and now through turn 3 and into turn 4, and now Noah's actually tapped the back of him. He's spun, he's backwards, and he just about recovers. He's going to lose a whole heap of positions now though, and is back down to P5 now, under threat from NBA Ruben, who actually just drives off the track in sympathy. And now on board with Kian, Ali K having a look back up the inside of Alex into Brooklands and through the apex. Now it gets a tighter apex, and Alex still holding off around the outside. He's now got the inside for this corner, and Kian still having a sniff to try and get past, but can't quite make it yet. And now you've got to imagine that Kian would probably let Novotank through here, as Novo's the championship leader. Novo's actually weaving to try and tell him that, to get him out of the way, and but Kian is actually staying ahead for now.
Yeah, well, I don't think Kian wants to let Novotank through just at this moment, because it's then going to become susceptible to the Sauber just behind. But M4 out in front has already got quite a big lead. It's probably already over 2 seconds. This is working out absolutely brilliantly for the Haas driver, but now on board with Novotank, and there's Ali K losing the rear end. God knows what's happened there. But now Novotank back up into P4. It's been a very hectic start, especially at the front here.
Now through Stowe we go, then Novotank right up the gearbox of his Renault teammate, now down into Vale once again. Not leather on the brakes, so can't quite dive up the inside this time. And there is quite a huge train forming up behind the Red Bull of Alex at the moment as M-Thorn goes and... Oh, Novotank gets a swapper through the last corner and drives off the track. So another mistake there from the championship leader. We've seen, I think, 2 mistakes now already. And we don't quite get to see Novotank making mistakes often. Obviously, the last mistake I think he made was the strategies in Austria, which he disconnected from, unfortunately. But now he's got a point to prove here in Silverstone. And he's already on the back foot after that lag start, and has got to make up places very, very quickly indeed to try and catch back up to M-Thorn, as we're now on board with Dan the Snake up into Brooklands. We go up the inside of BMU, and he's going to have the outside line for Luffield. And but he is on the softer compound, so he's going to get better grip through the corner. He's actually going to get better traction, slightly better traction up the inside through Woodcote. And he's now got the best line for Cops on the inside. And he's going to have the racing line, and BMU has to back out of it in the end. And that is the Force India up to 7th now.
Yeah, there's just more action happening just behind there as well. But now back to the front with Novotank. He's all over the back of his teammate once again. He gets a great exit, and now both of them have got DRS. But Novotank seems to have far superior straight line speed up the inside into Stowe, and he gets that move done. And now he's all over the back of that Red Bull of Alex. But back to Theo, and he's going around the outside of the Force India.
Now down, and he's got the position in towards Stowe then. So that is the Manor up to 12th. And Demon struggling in that Force India drops down to 13th. Novotank now setting the fastest lap of the race, trying to catch back up to the Haas that is escaping up the road through Abbey and Farm. They go now down into this tighter complex added in 2010 to try and induce and provide more overtaking opportunities. And we've now got this traction zone out of turn 4 and 5, which leads on to the Wellington Straight. And now Novotank in the slipstream of his championship rival. Now round the outside of Brooklands. Does he get it stopped? Yes, just about. He's now got the inside for Luffield. Loses the back end on the curb. Alex around the outside now. And Novotank still on the inside. Still not giving the place up. And he's got the run now out of the corner through Woodcote. Alex is going to have to go defensive once again. Yes, he does go into Cops on the inside. And Novotank has to wait for now, but it's now got the switch back into Maggots and Beckett's. One of these two has got to back out, surely. No, they're not. They're going to go through it side by side. Alex finally backs out of it, and Novotank is up to P2, and now he can set his sights up towards M-Thorn. Now Alex is now under threat from his teammate in Kian, and now Kian's going to have the DRS down the hanger straight towards Stowe, and now Alex putting up very much less of a fight against that Renault, and Kian is now up to P3, and Alex in a couple of corners is now down to P4. He's going to have a look up the inside in towards Vale though, and can't quite make it on the brakes, and that is now the Red Bull back down to P4.
God, it's all kicking off here at the start. Yeah, Alex got a very compromised run towards the end of that Maggots and Beckett section, and then coming out of Chapel, it was just easy for Kian to get a much better run, and that was him up into P3. And all this squabbling is really hurting them. I think M4, I don't know how much of a lead he's got, but he's definitely looking pretty good at this point in the race. Obviously, we're only on lap 5, and there's a long way to go, as we now on board with Beacott in P10, obviously in cockpit cam, and he's got the Mercedes of BMU all over the back of him, but RBOS, who started all the way down in like P16, coming up in P9, so he's having a great race considering he's on the hard compound tyre, but BMU got a tad of oversteer there, and this could give the Mercedes an opportunity to go for the inside, and he's going to go up the inside. That's a lovely move, and I think if he just about gets it stopped, then that's the move done. But now Beacott's going to try and hold it round the outside, but I think that is Mercedes up into P10. Well,
Beacott's actually got a better run coming out of there, and now he's not going to get around the outside of Cop's corner, and BMU has actually pushed him off the track there, and Beacott goes through the 100-metre board, and now he's coming back onto the track, and he's hit his teammate, I think that is, and he's gone spinning round in circles. What's happened to Theo? It was Theo, as he's got a warning for it, and that is Beacott's race once again gone down in tatters. And I don't think he's finished the last 4 British Grand Prix he's attended. And he's right down at the back now for this one. And now Theo under threat from GR Demon once again. And he looks like he's got away from that incident unscathed, if there was actually an incident on his screen. And now he's under threat from the Force India, who goes right around the outside of Vale. Big C's going to follow him through into Club. And Aresi is now joined. I think he's a bit late on that one. I don't think he's going to be able to continue doing this race, unfortunately for him. And but now Theo into turn 1. Mayhem Madness going for a very late move up the inside. Theo sees it coming and sensibly leaves room. And Mayhem Madness sensibly backs out of it for now. As we've now got a replay. Oh, that's rain. That's rain forecast in about 5 minutes' time. The sky is greying up now. So that could be a very great twist to this race.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see whether those guys on the mediums can stretch their tyres. I think we've already seen one person, I think it was MBA Rubin in his Sauber, who started on soft. He's already gone into the pit lane. And, well, you can see just by the tyre wear that Theo's got, he'll be easily able to take those, even 10 more laps. So there's no problems for these guys getting to the rain period. But now we've got Theo going up the inside, but then back out of it, probably quite sensibly, as Big C and GR Demon both squabbling ahead. But now they're going to try round the outside of here. That's a very ambitious move, but backs out of that.
So now in the slipstream he's going to have DRS as well. But the Force India's got DRS in front of him. Big C doing weaving. I think he'll get away with that as long as he doesn't come back onto the racing line. No, he doesn't. So that's okay for Big C for now. And may have Madness up the inside of Theo as the Manor runs wide through Stowe. So the Red Bull seeks that opportunity up into 12th place, right behind the Force India. And now Big C really struggling through the last corner. Oh no, the Force India's got off instead actually. And that is GR Demon in the gravel trap, I think, at the last corner. That's a very weird place to go off. You don't usually see a car going off there. So that's going to compromise his race very badly. He has got going though on the mini-map, so that's good to see. Now on board with the race leader, who's only about 2 seconds in front of Nervo now. So Nervo is slowly pulling that gap down. And now the Renault is going to be trying to hunting. This is going to work into these guys' favour as well for when the rain comes. And well, that provides if they don't get a puncture or not. They will hopefully be in the pit stop window for when the rain comes as we go through Copse Corner. And Kian as well in third, holding off Alex for now, which is good news for Nervo Tank as we go through the last part of Maggots and Beckett's into Chapel now, and down the Hangar straight now on board with the championship protagonist in Alex at the moment, right behind Kian in the Renault, trying to get past down the straight. It's going to have DRS, but it's going to be way too far back for a move at the moment.
Yeah, see, M-Thorn's tyre wear is about mid 50%, so that's not exactly great considering the rain could fall about lap 9, but for all we know, due to this sort of dynamic weather system we've got on this game, it can take 3, 4, 5 laps for it to become intermediate conditions. So it's been very interesting to see whether the drivers have to pit for another set of slicks or just hang it out until that rain period. But now going down the pit straight, and Alex is very close to the Renault ahead, but seemingly not being able to find a way past so far as we brake for turn 3, and Alex gets all over that apex, and then I think the DRS detection point is just around about here, and then he'll get the DRS down the main straight, but it's going to see whether he can get past.
Alex then trying to go after his 6th podium of the season, and is he going to have a look down the inside? No, he's not. So yeah, Alex having a sniff at his 6th podium of the season. The only person with more podiums than him is Nervo Tank, who has 6 podiums going into this race. So now back on board with RBOS up to P8 now from 17th on the grid. So it's been a terrific drive from him at the moment. Avoided all of that first lap carnage, and now we're going to get... Okay, so yeah, as we just heard there, hopefully you guys heard it as well. Light rain within the next couple of minutes and the next couple of laps. So the skies have definitely clouded up here in Silverstone as RBS clumps over that curb, but he was way too slow to get a warning, so he escapes it on that one. And RBS, I think, is the first of the hard runners, so he is going to start to have a faster tyre than what these guys are on the medium are. So it's going to work in his favour. And Nervo Tank around the last corner, still about 2 seconds behind the race leader at the moment in Thorn, and now going through Farm into turn 3. Grandstand on the left, which is a great view. You get a great view up there of this section of track, and now through turn 4, exiting now through the flat left-hander at turn 5, now down the Wellington straight, and in his own world at the moment is the Renault driver after that poor start for him. Now back with Alex, still on the hunt for P3 behind his teammate. Now we're looking at the two McLarens once again embroiled in a battle, and we've seen this many times over the course of the season since Clarkey joined the league later than most, and Clarkey doing a tremendous job at the moment. Still behind his teammate in the championship though, but he's looking to change that at the moment, right behind his teammate, and these two are really matched for pace at the moment, which we've seen quite often this season as well. Dan in the Force India in 7th place right behind, and Clarkey getting very close through Cops Corner actually. So what do we think? Can Clarkey have a move on his teammate down the hangar straight?
I mean, if he stays this close, then he will be able to, but Alex seems to have pulled a little bit away through here, and then he'll just get back onto the throttle, able to get onto the throttle earlier. And yeah, I think he should be able to maintain P5 going in towards Stowe, and yeah, he's got quite a comfortable gap. RBOS seems to be quite fast at this point in the race. Obviously, that hard tyre now starting to be the best race compound. And I think in the mirrors there you can see Dan actually diving into the pit lane, so he's decided that he's going to go onto a fresh set of tyres. Could that be a mistake considering the rain is just moments away?
Yeah, you would surely expect the team's message to tell him that at the moment, but we don't quite know what tyres he's gone on to yet. And now we're back with Novotank, who's caught up a lot to Enthorn actually in the last lap, and he's about a second and a half behind him now, so he's gained an awful lot of time. So I wonder if Enthorn made a mistake on the previous lap. We don't quite know, unfortunately, at this stage in the race. Obviously, the timing screen in the top left will be slightly out of sync, considering Novo's got a lag start, so that will be slightly incorrect at the moment. Now on board with the race leader, and we can see from that onboard dash actually that he's 9/10 down on his fastest lap in the first sector alone, as I believe it's now starting to spit with rain, Dan.
Yeah, I mean, obviously these first bits won't mean it's ready for intermediate conditions. It's a very difficult decision for the drivers. You can either wait for your engineer to tell you to pit for winters, which could be inaccurate information, or you can try and work it out yourself. But now Novotank is going up the inside, and this is him moving into the lead of the race, and Enthorn's pace just seems to have disappeared.
And he's trying to go back around the outside now, but doesn't actually manage to stick it around the outside. And I think Enthorn, sorry, is short shifting a lot. I don't quite understand why he's short shifting down the straight, and I think that's where his pace has gone. You can see him short shifting through Club Corner, and it was 3 seconds slower that lap. So I don't think the conditions have changed that much, as it still is only starting to spit with rain. And here we now are looking from the outboard shot. But yeah, he is losing a lot of time. Probably Novotank running a more mechanical grip setup. But yeah, it's not working out for him at all. And RBOS diving up the inside of Clarkey. And a very clean move there as he loses the back end out of turn 3. And now he's going to struggle for traction out of turn 4. And now I think in these conditions, with the mediums getting very worn indeed, the hard tyre is actually the correct tyre to suit these conditions, as he's now Ali K is now under threat from the Haas that started down in 16th. He's up to 6th. This is a terrific drive from RBOS at the moment. And Ali K, you can see how much understeer he's got through Luffield. And he's lost the back end now, pulls a tax slapper. And these guys are really struggling now. And RBOS is now up to P5.
Yeah, he's looking absolutely brilliant at this point. It depends when the drivers decide to dive into those intermediate tyres. But if he's got time, he can easily catch up to the podium runners. But now back to the front with Novotank. Is he going to dive into the pit lane? If he does, that's a very interesting call. You can see the understeer he's got through Stowe. But is that enough to warrant intermediate tyres? And he does pit.
There is a phase on this game as well that we have learned. There is a phase where neither the dry or the intermediate tyre is the correct one to be on. There is a phase where neither tyre will work in these conditions. So I think we're into that phase at the moment. It's going to be interesting to see if Novotank is fast enough on the fresh intermediates. And now on board with Alex and Kian, they go up position each as Novotank is in the pit lane. So this could either be a move that wins Novotank the race or compromises his race hugely, as everyone else, it looks like, in the top 6 at least, has stayed out another lap. So the DRS is still enabled, which is actually usually a good indication that it is still dry tyre conditions. But yeah, you can see how much the two McLarens have dropped off the back of RBOS. Here is now Nervotank on the intermediates, coming out in 8th place. So we're now on board with him. How is he going to cope on these tyres? Struggling for traction out of turn 3 slightly, understeering slightly as well. And Theo is not looking bad on those tyres, you know, as Nervo struggles for traction. So the dry tyre still looks good to me.
Yeah, it looks to be a decent compound, especially considering those guys on the hards will... I mean, the tyre will probably be around about 40 to 50%, but it's very manageable at that point in the race compared to the guys that are on the mediums. They're struggling for tyre wear alone, never mind these low grip conditions. So for all we know, Nervotank could still be just about quicker than the likes of M4 and Alex out in front, but now on board of Ali K. And RBOS, who is that ahead of him? Is that the man of B Colt that's been lapped? Because otherwise he's already caught up to
I think
Alex
so.
or Kian.
I think that is B Colt who has been lapped, unfortunately. This early in the race here, he did already make a pit stop. So now coming through Stowe Corner, I think Ali K's got a front left puncture, which is going to compromise his teammate hugely. And he's heading into the pits now as well. Everyone's heading into the pits, it seems. So this is going to cost the two McLaren guys huge amount of time. And here we are now with Nervotank still under threat from Theo, but he's not that far off the back of AORMadness. He does come in for the intermediates, and I think this is pretty much the lap that you want to come in for the intermediates. And so this is now the crucial point in time. Has Nervotank lost the lead, or will he still rejoin in that lead, and will he rejoin behind a bunch of cars? Watch that number in the top left of your picture. P2 at the moment is P1 now, so he has maintained the lead. And I think we just saw a glimpse of Thorn in the mirror there, yeah. So I think he's probably gained about a second from staying out an extra lap. But now he's dropped it on the exit of turn 3 onto the grass, and that's not what you need. Grass and intermediate tyres are not going to work well at all. But that is Thorn. So Nervotank didn't really lose anything by going onto the intermediates one lap earlier than everyone else.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose he's gained 1 lap of experience, but then has also lost 1 lap of tyre wear. So it's probably worked out quite similar, but all these guys who were battling in that dry period, and now it's sort of been neutralised. RBS's advantage on that hard tyre kind of been neutralised. However, I believe this tyre wear glitch still works on the intermediate tyres, so RBS will be experiencing less tyre wear on this compound, as he will on every compound in the game. So Kian in 4th, and it'd be interesting to see how these guys sort of pace compares. We saw they're all very evenly matched in the dry conditions, but obviously the wet conditions in the game is it's almost a different game, the sort of driving style you've got to use. So I think we could see a bit of a shaking up in the order in the last half of this race.
So Kian, I think, has lost out to Alex, who has jumped him in the pit stops, and Ali K is the driver right behind, and RBOS is the one behind him. So RBOS lost out in this situation as well. And now we're on board with Clarky. The DRS has been disabled, so I think that's pretty much the main point to suggest that it is time for the inters. And you can see how much time Clarky loses here, as the team service his teammate and now take forever to get ready to put his intermediate tyres on. And yeah, he's going to lose probably an extra 7 or 8 seconds in that phase. Now Ali K is having a look up the inside of Kian. Obviously Ali K we know is good in wet conditions. If we believe anything in Canada, he absolutely commanded that race for the first couple of laps when it was still intermediate conditions, and then fell away unfortunately in that race. But in these conditions at the moment, he looks out very quick indeed, as he has a look up the inside of Kian into Cops, but doesn't quite make it stick. And he's got a good run out of that corner actually. He's going to have a slight look, doesn't make anything of it at the moment. He's way too far back. And now Kian, as we go through Maggots and Beckett's, falling off the back of Alex. So I think made a mistake through there. And but yeah, now Kian under threat from that McLaren. And we've got to imagine that with the pace that, or well, with how close Ali K is running to the back of that Renault at the moment, we've got to assume that Ali K is going to find a way through very quickly, as he actually has a look up the inside of Stowe and doesn't quite make anything of it, and is nowhere near close enough to have a look up the inside of Vale.
Yeah, Ali K just got to be sensible. There will be a way past at some point. It's so easy to make mistakes in these intermediate conditions as Kean actually gets a lot of oversteer around the final corner. Can Ali K look up the inside of turn 1? I don't think he'll be able to do that. So, yeah, just got to bide his time and eventually he will find a way past. Alex hasn't got that far up the road, but it does seem that Kean is struggling a fair bit in these conditions because the hat of RBOS really isn't dropping back too much either, as we now head through this loop section, and then they'll be getting back on the throttle. And because there's no DRS obviously in these wet conditions, it just makes that all the more difficult to find a way past. So there seems to be a little bit of lag there with Kean's car, but Ali K is very close. Could be looking up the inside of Brooklands. He has a look, but then seemingly backs out of it. Quite hard to tell from RBOS's POV. But yeah, you can just see how much these guys are struggling.
I love this. I love to see wet driving on this game. It's a whole different ball game to what we've had in the past games, and it's fantastic to see that the wet conditions are more challenging now, and it really does separate the best drivers from the good ones. Now into Cop's corner, Ali K once again getting close through the corner, so Ali K might actually be running slightly more wing, which will obviously help in these conditions as he'll have more grip down through the corners. And now you can see how close he gets through this section, and he's able to take a much tighter line, just showing that he's got more grip available. But has he got the straight line speed down the hanger straight? He's actually got good enough straight line speed to challenge Kean. Now having a look around the outside of Stowe, but Kean covers it off well and breaks late for Stowe, so that Ali K can't have a look around the outside. Now Ali K actually having a look down the inside into Vale. He's up the inside, and Kean still around the outside though, and they're going to survive just about for now. They're still side by side through Club, and they're going to struggle for a major traction zone through in the wet conditions. RBOS is now having a look up the inside of Ali K actually into turn 1, and Ali K surely going to have to back out. No, he drives clean around the outside, and that is stunning defensive driving from the McLaren. And to hold it off around the outside, you've got to have massive trust in the other driver to make sure that they back out of it, and that is very well performed by those two drivers there. And Ali K looks miles quicker than Kean at the moment, but still can't find a way past.
Yeah, it's proving quite difficult for these drivers, but I'm sure if Ali K sticks at it, he will find a way past. But yeah, this is the problem for Ali K. He's got this risk and reward sort of kind of idea. If he goes past Kean, he's definitely on for a podium. We've seen the pace he's got in these intermediate conditions. He could definitely catch Alex, even though the Red Bull driver does seem to have gone fair way up the road now, so he needs to get a move on this overtake. But obviously, if he tries to push too hard getting past Kean, that could give the opportunity to RBOS to find a way past not just Ali K, but even both of them, depending on what sort of situation they find themselves in. But now, once again, we're heading into this famous Magnussen Beckett section. But on board with Emthorn, and he has lost a fair amount of time to the leader and is now in a whole world of his own.
Yeah, he literally is just on his own now. He's not falling massively far back off of Novotank, but Novotank in command is where he likes to be, and he's very good in these situations of just controlling the race and pulling away at will. So now he's set a 1:45.2 on that lap. No idea if that's any good, but now back with the battle for 4th place with Ali K and Kean and RBOS. So RBOS seems to get close through this last sector, and Ali K, just you can see how much more drive he's got through the traction zones, especially that last corner at Club. And now through Abbey we go, and now turn 2, which is Farm. RBOS struggling for traction even through turn 1, just trying to show how much more difficult the conditions are on this game. And we're on intermediate, so still no full wet running so far this season. And personally, I would love to get some full wet running if the races are going to be this great. So now RBOS even struggling for traction out of turn 5 there, and Ali K looking super close down the back straight. Still can't find a way through in Brooklands just yet, and he's got to find a place where Kean won't expect it. I think that's the only place he's going to try and get past.
Yeah, definitely. Now on board with Theo in P9. Obviously was able to take those hard tyres all the way to the first round of pit stop, so he's got himself some decent track position, and he's now all over the back of the Red Bull. And we haven't seen much of this battle, so we don't know who is really quicker at this point in the race. But now coming out of Luffield down the old pit straight in towards Cotsbert to be immediately cut back to the battle for P4, and Ali K is so close. and that actually not got that much of a great run through there. And he's further back than he has been on previous laps, but he will still maybe have an opportunity into Stowe as Kian once again goes defensive. Ali K is going to try it round the outside. I think he's just going to try and risk it for me. He's just going to throw everything at it and just see what happens. But Kian has run wide through Stowe. This is going to mean he's going to go defensive into the final section. Ali K goes round the outside, but Kian, very aggressive defending.
they've hit.
And then they've made contact. RBOS is going to sneak round the outside and up into P4.
Great avoiding action by the Haas driver. I think the two behind him have actually got away with it somehow. And yeah, Ali K just tapped the back of Kian. I don't know if Kian turned into him, even though Ali K was still there or not. Hopefully we'll get a replay of that. But now back on board with Theo and Mayhem Madness into those sequence of corners. And here we are now back with the battle for battle for 5th place. And yeah, so these two did escape it, but they've lost track position to RBOS, who's now up to 4th. Stunning drive from him at the moment to be in 4th place. There he is. And that's Clarkey in the background now catching up to these guys. So Clarkey, despite that slow pit stop, that's just showing how much Ali K is being held up at the moment by Kian. So Kian driving a good defensive race, or he was until that contact on the at the end of the last lap. So now Kian has got to hold off the two McLarens, who will be hunting him down very, very hard.
Yeah, I mean, Clarkey was a fair way back. We didn't even see him sort of in the camera shot only a couple of laps ago, so they've lost a lot of time in that battling. And RBOS has already scampered up the road, so he's clearly got some decent pace in the intermediate conditions. But now through Magnus and Beckett's once again as B Colt retires. Not a great British Grand Prix for him once again. But now Ali K, he's getting close to Kian, but he's just not close enough. He's tried to force an overtake on the last lap and it didn't work out too well for him. So I wonder what he's feeling right now.
Well, he knows he can have an opportunity into Vale, as he proved on the last lap. And B Colt going on to mediums.
I don't think that's what he wanted.
Yeah, I don't think that's what he wanted, and that was never going to work. So I think that's probably the reason why he has retired. So that's disappointing to see, but he wasn't really going to get anything from back there in last place. And now we've got Mayhem Madness trying to fend off his teammate in Theo around club, and these two really struggling. Mayhem Madness struggling much more than Theo at the moment, and these guys are really losing a lot of pace relative to the guys in front. 47.2, sorry, for Theo on that last lap, and I think earlier we saw Novatank do a 45.2. So that just shows how much slower those guys are at the moment. And GR Demon is now the last of the runners at the moment, down in 17th place. I think right behind one of the Williams. I think that was Nummer. And now back with the battle for 5th place, and Ali K still unable to find a way past as we're on lap 19 of the Grand Prix. 7 to go at the end of this one. And now Novatank looking in command of this race, and it has to be said, M Thorn and Alex looking good for 2nd and 3rd. And that will put M Thorn right back into play for at least 3rd in the championship the way it looks at the moment. And Alex will lose, I think, 10 points the way it stands at the moment, so he'll be 20 points behind if it stays the way it does. And now Ali K has actually got a good run out of Maggots and Beckett's, and now he's got he goes to the outside there for Stowe, and still can't find a way past. I'm surprised he didn't go for the inside there, as there was a gap on the right hand side of the track, and that's now going to cost him a lot of time. He's now braking on the grass slightly. He's going to go skating off the road. Does he just about keep it? He goes wide, and now this is going to put his teammate right on his gearbox. Can Clarkey find a way around the outside of club? And he's trying it, and he's going to have to back out surely. Yes, he does quite back out, but yeah, Ali K making a slight mistake there, braking on the grass, and then which becomes the curb, which in these conditions will become as slippery as ice.
Yeah, that is just not what you want to be doing, considering these low grip conditions that we're in. And RBOS hasn't got that far up the road. Kian is only maybe 1.5 seconds behind, so there's still an opportunity for these guys in the McLarens to somehow get P4 in this race. But yeah, Clarkey's caught up a hell of a lot of time. He's clearly got some very good pace in these intermediate conditions, considering how close he is to his teammate in Kian and RBOS. So it's a shame for him that he got held up so much in the pit lane, but be interested to see whether he finds a way past his teammate, because we've not actually seen Ali K's true pace in these intermediate conditions, considering we've had these tyres on for about 7 laps. We've not actually seen what the McLaren driver can actually do, but now they're both going to have to catch up to that Renault once again.
Yep, the rain looks fairly static at the moment, so I don't quite think we'll get to full wet conditions before the end of this race. But it might dry up. The rain, well, we never know at Silverstone really. It's the British weather, we can do anything. It was bone dry at the start of this race with barely any clouds in sight, and now look at what we've got. So now down the back straight in towards Stowe. Clarkey unable to make any kind of impression on his teammate at the moment, but there's still 6 laps to go at the end of this one. And now back with the battle for 8th place. Theo holding on to 9th place at the moment, trying to get that 8th place off the Red Bull driver, who had a fairly strong result last time out in Austria, and now goes wide into Vale, and that's going to compromise him through Club, and Theo not quite close enough to make any such kind of impression. So yeah, Mayhem Madness off the back of 2 good races, it has to be said. Without the drive-through in Baku, he would have probably been around about the top 5 positions. He's actually way too slow through that complex, and Theo's just mugged him through turn 1, but he's still on the inside. Is the Red Bull. Theo gives him the space, but Theo's going to have the inside for turn 4. Mayhem Madness carries a lot more speed around the outside, and he's got trap position and a better racing line on the exit of the corner, and Mayhem Madness maintains that 8th place, and it's great driving from him to maintain that maintain that position, after that poor run and that mistake into Vale.
Yeah, all that battling though, he's costing them time to down in the Force India and also BMU in the Mercedes, so they're catching up at a right rate of knots. But back to the battle for 6th, and Clark is sticking with his teammate, but they are now catching up to the Renault once again. Speaking of Renaults, Nano Tank out in front, looking very good. Obviously we don't know about penalties, and he has been known to pick up some corner cutting penalties so far this season. It cost him the win in Baku, so that can't be discounted, but that gap looks to be at least 5 seconds to the Haas of M4.
Yep, obviously there's still anything can still happen in this race, so we can't discount M Thorn just yet. But now Theo with a much better run through Cops, and Mayhem Madness getting on the grass slightly into Maggots, and through the complex we go now, and Theo taking much wider lines into the corners to try and set himself up to get a good drive out of that complex now down the hangar straight, and is not going to have quite enough straight line speed to have a look into Stowe, and has to sit in behind for the moment. But it will be a useful point for the Mana driver, after having a good result in 7th last time out in Austria for him, and Mayhem Madness himself had a great result for him in 4th place. So these two looking strong for points here today after a strong showing last time out as well. So these guys are getting their act together, getting themselves into the points on a regular basis now, which is fantastic to see. And Dan in the points as well, just gonna get 1 point at the moment the way it is as it stands. So now through turn 4, Theo looking to get a better drive out of the corner and taking a much wider line to try and get a cutback, and now he's very close to the back of the Red Bull, and Mayhem Madness is going to have to defend surely into Brooklands. No, he doesn't. He leaves the door open for the Mana to take, and he does take it up the inside of Brooklands, and Mayhem Madness actually holding it around the outside. He's got the inside for Luffield, and just holds back the Mana for now, but surely Theo's going to have a better run out of the corner. No, not quite actually. Theo actually gets on the grass on the exit of Luffield, and through Woodcote corner, Dan is actually getting very close to the back of him, so it could be a 3-way battle for 8th place very soon.
Yeah, it certainly could be, but now back to Ali K in P6, and they're slowly catching Keane. I think Keane's found a bit more confidence in these conditions and has developed some decent pace, but the McLarens are definitely trying to hunt him down once again. And it's just been a disappointing day for Ali K. I mean, he's in P6, still scoring 8 points, but for me, he could have easily been on the podium with the pace he's probably got in these intermediate conditions. But same could be said for his teammate as well, Clarkey, who got held up in that unfortunate pit sort of incident. And now through turn 1, and Keane, I think if you're just looking to defend P5 now, he's obviously had an incident with Ali K already early in this race, and won't want any more because he could end up in the stewards. But now through turn 4, and they'll be just getting the throttle down, and The problem is, for these guys, that apart from mistakes, there doesn't seem to be any way past.
Yeah, well, the DRS is obviously disabled in these conditions, so you have that benefit just taken away from you. And so it literally just comes down to how much traction you get, how much downforce you have to try and get the run out of corners and to try and catch the other driver napping. And that's really what Theo's got to do on Mayhem Madness, as well as the two McLarens on Keaton, as Dan has now actually joined this group in the battle for 8th place. And it looks like it's brightening up slightly on the right hand side there. Blue sky just appearing on the in the top right, so the rain looks like it's eased off slightly, but we're not going to get back to the dries anytime towards the end of this race, as the track's still far too wet. But we've still got some great racing on our hands now. Back with the battle for 5th place, and Ali K. Ali K seems like he's definitely gone for higher wings for me, because he's got better, well, he's not got that much better straight line speed than Kian, and he definitely seems like he's quicker than Kian through the corners, and the same, excuse me, can be said for Clarkey as well. Got slightly better straight line speed than his teammate as they short shift their way through club corner. It's not really a corner in the dry, it's just a kink, but obviously in these conditions, with this handling model on this game, it definitely is a corner, as is turn 2, it has to be said, and turn 1. So now into turn 3, Clarkey taking a much tighter line than the two guys in front of him, sets himself for a better traction run out of this corner. Ali K struggles for traction that time out and through turn 5, which is going to compromise his run down the straight here, and now down into Brooklands. He nowhere near close enough. So yeah, Kian is driving a very good defensive race at the moment.
Yeah, it has to be said. Sure, we didn't see a replay of what happened in that incident between Ali K and Kian, but nevertheless, we've only got 2.5 laps to get to go at this British Grand Prix, and so far it has been pretty epic, as we're now back to Theo, and he's still trying to find a way past X-Men Madness. It just seems the second half of the race seems to be a story of people who are faster behind, trying to find a way past, sadly, and they've not been able to do it so far, but it should set us up for an intriguing last couple of laps as people start to get more desperate, as X-Men Madness actually runs wide on the curb outside of Lovefield, and now they're going down the whole pit straight side by side. X-Men Madness seems to have better straight line speed, actually, able to pull away from the manor and will maintain 8th, but Theo gets a much better run through Cops, and now Dan is trying to go to the outside of Theo through Maggots and Beckett's. Can he hold this round the outside? No, Theo, great driving from him, able to hold it round the outside.
Got to say, great driving from them both, not to have a fast over 100-mile-an-hour accident there, because they both could have been in the wall and out of this race. So superb driving from the both of them. Dan actually with a lot better straight line speed than Manor, chooses to go to the outside towards Stowe, and could have had the inside, but no, he's got a much better drive through the corner actually, and now has got the inside line for Vale. So that is going to be the Force India up to 9th place, but he's gone too deep into the corner, and that is Theo going to drive clean around the outside of Club, and that is the Manor back up to 9th place. Great defensive driving from him to maintain that position, and now you've got to imagine they're going to catch up to Mayhem Madness at a right rate of knots, as we're still watching this battle for 5th place, and Kian, as we said earlier, doing a great job to hold on to that position with the two McLarens breathing down his neck.
Yeah, Kian, he's sensing now that he can get this 10 points. He's probably not had the pace in the intermediate conditions, but he's done very well, and Ali K is going to be really hoping to find a way past, or just hoping a mistake from the Renault. Obviously, the results could be decided after they all cross the finishing line. These intermediate conditions could lead to the drivers making mistakes, which we could see some more penalties. But now through Maggots and Beckett, and Ali K just doesn't seem close enough to make a move.
Oh, now he's actually under threat from his teammate, who I think has just spun off there. Hopefully, yeah, he has. He lost the back end coming out of that sequence of corners. And in all that excitement, Clarkey got way too excited and put the throttle down too much. And I think that might well have cost him the chance to get his teammate. We're going to see what's happened here. So Ali K loses it, and then Clarkey loses it himself, and actually clips the wall very well, lucky that he didn't have his front left tyre ripped off, and very lucky to escape without front wing damage, as we are now on the last lap of the race of this British Grand Prix.
Yeah, and Ali K still behind Kian as they head through the loop for the final time. So Ali K gets onto the throttle, and he's reasonably far back from the Renault actually, so don't think he'll be able to make a move this lap. Well, he'll have to make a move this lap if he wants to get into P5, but he won't be able to make a move into Brooklands. And now through, they both hit the apex quite nicely, but back to the leader in Nervotank, and he looks to be on his way to 25 points.
Yep, well, it's we've said that before, and look what happened in Baku. So now down the hangar straight for the final time. Nervotank, once he got back into the lead, has pretty much commanded this race, and hopefully he hasn't picked up any penalties that will demote him from this position. But now he's going to make it his 4th win of the season, the most of anyone actually. And now through Club Corner, the track has really dried up in these last few laps. And now across the line to take victory once again, hopefully. And hopefully we'll get that confirmation in just a couple of moments. And now M. Thorne, here he is across the line. Stays P2, so Nervotank does indeed take that victory, and that'll be disappointing for Alex here in 3rd place, but at least he is going to get 3rd place. He is on the podium once again this season, takes his 6th podium of the season. Around the last corner, takes it very, very slowly, and RBOS just manages to get it over the line facing the right way. A great drive from him, 17th up to 4th, and Ali K unable to get past Kian in the end. And now I think that was a lap runner in between the two McLarens there. Here we are on board with Theo in 9th place. Where's Mayhem Madness gone? Dan's in 8th, so Dan's past the pair of them. Where's Mayhem Madness gone? Hopefully we'll get to see that in a moment's time. So Dan is going to come across the line in 8th, Theo 9th, and those two positions stay the same. So as hopefully anytime soon, it's Big Shot that is going to get the final points paying position in 10th place in the Ferrari, after being taken out on that first lap before, even when he got to turn 1, has recovered to 10th place. And now hopefully we get to see where Mayhem Madness is.
He's got a puncture.
Oh yeah, he has. He's got a puncture. Oh, that's where he went. So he must have got that very early on to lose that amount of time. And after all of that defending, all of that battling, he comes home in a very disappointing 11th place. Just misses out on a point. And here is Jake in his 2nd AOR race, coming across the line in 12th place.
Yep, so as you can see here, final lap of the race, so Dan goes up the inside of Theo, and they're both caught up to the Red Bull, and now I'm going to go side by side. And then X-Men Madness, I think this is where he gets the puncture, because he blocks down. Theo gets up the inside. That's a lovely move, and they both have to manage to find their way past the Red Bull driver. But now Dan puts it up into Rich, and now is getting into the slipstream with the Manor. The Manor goes defensive into Brooklands, and Dan tries to break late around the outside, and then doesn't manage to find a way past there. Goes wider into Luffield. There's a random Force India in the gravel track just over there, but now he gets much better traction, and then he's up the inside into the old turn 1, and I presume this is where he gets the move done.
Well, I would assume so, as Theo's going to really struggle to try and keep it around the outside of there. Yeah, he does. He backs out of it. So actually runs wide in the mirror as well. So that is Dan up to P8 with that double overtake on that last lap. Obviously, Mayhem Madness. This is where he got the puncture, I would assume. Now, yeah, he gets it at turn 2, so he has to do virtually a whole lap. That must have been a very painful lap for him. And, well, that's so disappointing for him. He was looking good for that 8th place there, doing a tremendous defensive race, and has to crawl around for the rest of the lap. So, I don't know about you, but I quite enjoyed that race. It was great to see a changeable conditions race, as it very much dried up at the end. So Nervotank does indeed keep that victory. Did actually have penalties in the end, and only ends up 1.7 seconds ahead of Thorne. Alex in P3, followed by RBOS, who actually had penalties and only gets that 4th place by 0.7 of a second. Kian comes home in 5th after that great defensive drive, and Ali K followed by his teammate in 6th and 7th. Dan in 8th place, followed by Theo and Big Shot Mayhem Madness just missing out on the points, followed by BMU and Jake. Number in 14th, the first of the lap runners, followed by Jonas and Demon. NBA Ruben, the first of the non-finishers, then Biko, Big C and Aresi, who unfortunately failed to start the race. So Nova Tank 20 points ahead now of Alex in second place. Aresi maintaining that third place ahead of M Thorn and Big Shot, who are now tied on 77 points, and Ali K is right behind them in 6th place, followed by Kian. RBS now up to P8 ahead of Clarky and Simple, and Dan just outside the top 10. Theo moving up to 12th place on 24 points ahead of Jonas, and Big C and Demon down in 15th on 19 points, still struggling back there. Mayhem Madness right behind him ahead of Biko, NBA Ruben, BMU, Nama and Jake.
Renault extend their lead in the Constructors' Championship after Ferrari were only able to pick up 1 point from the Silverstone Grand Prix. Red Bull are in 3rd, with Haas moving up to 4th after their great result for M4 and RBOS, with McLaren dropped to 5th. Force India stays 6th, with Mercedes 7th. Manor, Sauber and Williams round out the Constructors' Championship.
So that's it then for the British Grand Prix. I've been Shane alongside Dan. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll both see you there next time out in Hungary.